What's up, guys? Bachata Rockstar here once again. Got another Star Realms replay going, and this game against Mathew1128. The main theme here is kill your opponent, kill them now. Don't wait. Don't mess around, and don't be afraid about diverging from your initial plan. And you'll see what I mean coming up. Let's take a look. Let's see how this game goes. So we're in luck. We get to go first. We get 2 trade. I love going aggressive and picking up this cargo craft here. Yeah, I realize it gives you trade, and you could argue it's better than Explorer, even though Explorer does scrap itself, which I love. But I think getting Predator or Lancer is actually better here. And honestly, I think, getting Lancer or getting Predator is just better. It's just better to go aggressive, get in the beginning. There's already an MC out there. There's always explorers to get. And the other thing is, too, is everything's really cheap. So we're not trying to go after anything big right now. And I think this is where a lot of people make their mistakes, is they build towards a future that may not even be there, right? They are getting a bunch of trade because they're like, oh, I want to have enough trade so I can buy that 7-drop, that 8-drop. Where? Where's the 7-drop or 8-drop? There's nothing out there. There's only a junkyard. And I would argue trying to build up to get a junkyard is not winning Star Realms. Junkyard is actually kind of crappy. Yes, it does scrap, but it takes you a while to actually get to that scrap because you cannot get it until you have purchased trade initially. So you have to spend time getting the trade, draw that trade, then spend time getting the junkyard, then put the junkyard in your deck, then draw the junkyard, then you finally scrap. It'd be better to just have a freaking 2-cost scrapper right away. Since we don't have that, it's better to just go for damage. Now the question is, should I go for Lancer or for Predator? I think the better play would be to go to Predator because Predator can theoretically draw. But Lancer theoretically kills bases. So both are pretty good. And with the Junkyard being out there, Lancer would have a target that would increase its damage. And since there's a cargo craft and a Lancer out there, Lancer might be better to try to combo the two, but I think in a vacuum, Predator would be a little bit better. Being able to go card draw, go aggressive is typically better. But again, there's not a whole lot to pair out there. And so my main point here is that, 1, don't build towards a future that may not come. And 2, you should weigh combos with what's actually out there that you can combo with versus what you could potentially combo with, right? Deal with the trade row that's in front of you, right? The future is unknown. We don't know what's coming. And so it's one of those things where if you build towards that future, you're probably going to get... a lot of times your plan is going to go awry and you'll have to readjust. Whereas it's better to just kind of keep your plans a little open and buy cards that could fit well with a lot of different types of futures. So, anyway, we buy cargo craft, it's fine. And my opponent has 4 trade. Probably going to go Blob Miner Predator. This is excellent, right? You get 3 trade, you get a card draw, you start aggressive, you get 2 greens. Really solid play. Embassy Yacht would be pretty good if there were more bases out there that you could potentially combo. Buying the Lancer to keep it away from me is another good thought, another good play. You could even argue to go Predator Lancer, go really aggressive. As the second player, though, you typically want to play a little more defensively. But removing 2 aggro cards from my opponent is also pretty good. So, I think any of the choices here of any combination of these 2 drops is pretty good. But if you're going to pick up Blob Miner, you should probably pick up Predator. I think that's better. Or going Lancer Predator is also pretty good. What it does, though, is going Blob Miner Predator is the better play because that gives you, like I said, since we've been talking about futures so much already, being able to go multiple futures, being able to do a trade-heavy strategy to get big drops, Blob Miner, or being able to go aggressive strategy. Still got Predator. So I like that play better, whereas if you go Predator Lancer, you are forcing yourself to go aggressive. And aside from these 2 cards, who knows if you're going to get enough aggro cards to really make it work. So I like this. This gives you the best chance to make the best decisions moving forward. Yep. And he does. So, what the heck do we do? Well, there's a lot of choices. With 4 trade, we can afford everything except the 2 drops. The 2 big drops. And since there's a Moonworm out there, the Moonworm is worth going after. The Moonworm is worth building our deck around. But is the Frontier Ferry or the Embassy Yacht the card we want to use to try to get said Moonworm? Now, he's already got a Predator. He's already got a Blob Miner. He's clearly going Blob and probably going aggro. So taking the Moonworm away from him should be a pretty big priority. But the other thing we need to do is think about our own synergy, right? We've got a cargo craft. Lancer would be really good with that. And since we've got 4 trade, we could go Lancer Explorer, which would still give us a significant amount of trade, certainly enough to get a Moonworm or get a Junkyard, and there's no way in hell he can buy both the Embassy Yacht and the Frontier Ferry, so the likelihood of us getting one of those is pretty high. Losing the Lancer here, though, especially because he could easily be going aggressive, I think is a bad idea. Like, I'm more okay with him having trade cards and healing cards that bloat his deck than I am with him furthering an aggressive strategy that we would have a tough time fighting against. Yeah, so we do end up going Lancer. And this is good. Hey, we flipped another yellow card too. Maybe we can go yellows now. Maybe we can just be yellow deck. Seems fine to me. And yep, and so then our opponent goes ahead and picks up the Frontier Ferry. And so he's made it kind of clear now. This purchase tells us he's not going to go aggressive. It tells us he's going to try to get the Moonworm. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey, what do you mean he's not going aggressive? He's trying to get a Moonworm. Well, what I mean is he's not devoting all his resources towards damage. He's actually devoting some resources towards trade to then devote his resources towards damage, i.e. getting the Moonworm. So since we know that's what he's going to do, there's a couple different ways we can combat that. We can try to get trade ourselves to then get the Moonworm and take it away from him. Bit of a gamble, but it's worth a shot. We can try to get trade ourselves to then get bases to blunt the effect that Moonworm would have. Or we can go the other way and go aggressive ourselves. Pick up the frigate, pick up any other damage that might show up. Maybe there's a 2-drop damage that we could snag. Maybe we just snag another Explorer, keep hitting him in the face. So I think the idea of just going aggressive and having the Moonworm only come out like once or twice is probably the way to go. You know? Let him get all the trade. Let him get all the healing. Let him sit back, do his thing, whatever, putter around. We're just going to buy all the guns and shoot him with all the guns. Ooh, Space Station came out. I think we're going to get Space Station. So, Space Station does a bunch of things. 1, it protects our face a little bit. 2, we can scrap it to potentially get Moonworm or Junkyard. 3, it's a yellow card, so it's going to combo with our yellow strategy. I think that's an excellent card, and it's definitely the card we need to go after. As much as I love Frigate, he's also shown he's not really going aggressive, so he probably won't get the Frigate anyway. So I actually like getting Space Station here. Yeah. Ooh, another Blob Miner. Yeah, he definitely getting the Blob Miner. So this makes sense, right? Like, his game plan is very clear. Get enough trade to get the Moonworm, ride the Moonworm, and potentially the Junkyard to victory. So now we know his plan. Now it's time to counter it. And how are we going to counter that? We're going to shoot him in the face. We're going to go all yellows and go ham. Oh, he picked up more trade. Yeah, see, and this just sort of bloats his deck. I don't like this purchase at all. And look at that. We got 2 more yellow cards. Let's buy all the yellow cards. Let's buy that Star Barge. Let's buy that Frigate. And let's go ham. So, we figured out our plan. We're a yellow deck. We're just going to shoot him in the face till he dies. This is the plan. Any other aggressive cards we can snag? Let's go ahead and do that. And, yep, now he gets Moonworm. So, that sucks. What are you going to do? Convoy Bot came out. He's got Moonworm now. So now he's going to try to shift his focus, right? But the good news is he's got a lot of cards that bloat his deck. Right? He's got a lot of cards that just give him trade, and that's it. And because there's so many cheap trade cards out here, those cards are actually going to be a major hindrance to him because he's A, gonna draw a card, just draw a bunch of cards that have trade, and B, he's going to be buying cards that are relatively cheap and relatively low impact. He's not going to be buying high impact cards because those cards are simply not out there. So this gives us an opportunity to potentially grab the Ram or the Convoy Bot or both if we can help it. Get more damage, get more scrap, just keep going face. Be as efficient as possible, be as aggressive as possible. Our game plan is now officially clear. It was already pretty clear. Okay, but we also want to try to get that Emperor's Dreadnought. So that's why we bought this orbital shuttle too. Since we have so many yellows, the likelihood of us getting it is very high. Yep, and our opponent buys another green. This is good. Ram is great for his deck. It deals more damage. It gets more trade. So he's trying to turn the corner now, right? He's like, okay, I have my damage. This is how I just want to acquire damage from here on out. So he's going aggressive now, too. The good news is we have a couple of turns ahead of him already going aggressive. So the likelihood of us just beating him to the punch is pretty high. Ooh, those are really good cards, though. So we were trying to get Emperor's Dreadnought here, and unfortunately we just kind of whiffed. Didn't get a 2-drop. Or didn't get something that gives us 2 trade, so that's unfortunate. We're going to go ahead and pick up this Plasma Bot here. It's good. Protect our face a little. Force him to discard 2 cards. Keep attacking. Potentially keep him away from the Emperor's Dreadnought. Ah, he scrapped it. Darn it. That's unfortunate. And he got Peacekeeper. Yeah, that's unfortunate too. Good news is, though, we can get Frigate. We can get, I think, Enforcer Mech 2, 4, 5, 6. No. Huh. Should we go Enforcer Mech or Frigate? I think we just go Frigate here since we scrapped a Frigate, right? Oh, no, we got Enforcer Mech. That's fine, too. Yeah. We want to start scrapping. We want to draw into our yellows more and more and more. And like I said, he's shown a propensity to not go for any aggressive cards right now. So why not keep, it's a gamble, sure. And he scraps Frigate. That's fine. I think that's smart. Draws a card. Ooh, draws Moonworm. Nice. And then uses Moonworm to get the Frontier Runner to heal him for 2 more. Okay, that's fine. I like this play. And then he buys the Junkyard. All right, yeah, that's fine. We get a little lucky here because he cycled. So he's not actually putting Junkyard into a discard pile that he would then draw immediately or draw quickly. He's not, these cards are going to take 3 or 4 turns to get to. He might not see 3 or 4 turns. Yeah, and then he buys Embassy Yacht. I don't know why. That was another move that he didn't need to do. But we're just going to try to make our deck more efficient. Buy Missile Bot, buy Plasma Bot. We're going to start scrapping. Yep. And this next round should be really efficient for us. So he's currently in the lead, but he's only drawn Peacekeeper 1 time. He's only drawn Moonworm 1 time. Yep. Get the Convoy Bot. Looking good. And notice how many times, Convoy Bot has already come out 3 times. Granted, we have 2 of them now. But, yep, grab the survey ship, hit him in the face. So now we're kind of hoping and praying here, right? We need 2 turns. We have 26 health. We just kind of need him to not draw well. The good news is his deck is bloated as hell. He's got 24 cards. So, if he runs good, he beats us. If he runs bad, he doesn't beat us. Run bad 1 time? Holy shit. That was crazy. Don't have 8 damage. Don't draw Moonworm. Yes, GG. Ah, yes. Feels good. Kaboom stick. All right. It's a good game. Fairly straightforward game. But you see the difference here. The difference is, once we decided it was time to go aggressive, we went aggressive. Pretty much every play that we decided to do was to enact that strategy. Mostly yellows in the beginning. Later on, we got a few more scraps. The scraps were also aggressive scraps. You know, the convoy bots, the battle bots, and stuff like that. A little bit of red, a little bit of yellow wins the game. Could we have lost? Sure, sure. But what we did is we put our opponent in a position to where he had to draw well. When your opponent has to get lucky to win the game, you're far more likely to win because your opponent is usually not going to get lucky, right? In order for our opponent to win, he would have had to have drawn Moonworm 3 times. And a 24 card deck, probably not going to happen. He had too many cards uploaded his deck. He had no scrap, so he had no additional efficiency. Not above ours, certainly. And I don't think we bought a card over costed 5. We bought one 5-cost card. That's it. Everything else was a little cheap piece of crap. He had a bunch of like big, strong cards. Peacekeeper, Moonworm, Junkyard, right? But those cards can only have impact if they're drawn and they're utilized. Can't draw them if your deck is inefficient. Can't draw them if your deck is bloated with other big, nasty trade cards. Not nasty, but like ineffective trade cards. So yeah, this is the key, man. You know, if your opponent is gonna dirtle around and try to get the big stuff, you can secretly kill them while they're not looking. While they're trying to get those big cards, you can be firing away, buying these little cheap efficient damage cards, and that's how you kill them. Alright guys, hope you liked that video. We'll see y'all next time.